We have people
We're
waiting.
live. And I don't have a second device, so I have no idea what's going on.
I'm going to see. I'm waiting. I haven't popped up on my screen yet. Nope, still waiting for you.
Hello.
Still waiting. There we go. Now we're coming up. Okay. Now we're up and running. I don't see anybody hanging out here, though, yet.
Yeah,
I think I was the only one waiting. Maybe I was the only... Oh, there we go. There's Kathy. Hello, Kathy.
Hi, Kathy.
How big is that cabinet behind you? Is it really big, or is it
I
like
sit on the floor?
Okay, all right. So it's not super huge.
No, but it is amazing. Hi, Helen. Yeah, she found this at the Goodwill, and she's like, "Mom, this has some age," because the this jewelry box on top was my grandmother's. Okay. And I passed it on to her, and she's like, it has the same kind of hardware as this vintage jewelry box from great grandma. And I'm like, yeah, it's good. Get it. It's good. So
that is so cool. And you know what? I like looking at those, but like, it's not like my style, but I think they're gorgeous.
It's
like to have like, yeah, to have one piece of it, I'd be like, oh, I really love that cabinet, but it'd be like, where am I going to put it? What am I going to do with it?
So if you're noticing I'm in a different spot and you missed it, I am cat sitting for my daughter's kitties this week, my grand kitties, while she is camping, and they're having a blast. Very peaceful. She was making breakfast and coffee, so they got to sleep in when she texted me right before this. So
I was going to say peaceful for her, peaceful for you.
Peaceful for both of us.
Peaceful for both of you.
So quiet here.
What does your shirt say? I skipped. What did you skip?
I skipped leg day.
I always skip leg day. I always seem to do arm day because I'm still working on bingo arms because I lost so much weight getting rid of the extra skin that hangs out down here.
I never had that until I stopped massaging. And once I stopped being a massage therapist, I had, and I'm like, oh, so sad.
I'm working. I never did either. And then I just lost a lot of weight. So yeah, lose 60 pounds. That'll happen. Hey, Becky.
Hi, Becky.
How is everybody today?
I've got this starting here. Yeah. I'm like, what is this? But that's from losing weight. I'm like,
losing weight. Right here. Yep. Yep, it's there. You want to lose the weight, and then you lose the weight, and you're like, damn it, I might have looked a little bit better before I lost the weight. I'm not sure.
Now things are sagging instead of being fat.
Yeah, I I'm like, I look like I got older. Hey, Robert, I look like I got older, right? No, I didn't get any older. I just got skinnier. So there is a thing. I had a friend who used to say that all the time. She's like, I look this good because I'm pudgy. Okay. You might be right. You might be onto something.
Skin out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for stopping in, John Robert. We know this is a busy, busy time of year.
Yeah.
So busy.
Happy Juneteenth, everybody. If you didn't know it was Juneteenth, I didn't know it was Juneteenth until the other day. So
yep. And Wednesday's going to be first day of summer.
All right. I have a bone to pick with everyone. Thank you for that segue, Claudia. I have a bone to pick with everybody out there right now. This is serious. Whoever is hoarding summer, share the love.
We're going to be in the 80s here this week, so we're hoarding the summer.
Oh, thank you, Kaz. 50 degrees or so every morning when I wake up. 50 degrees. It's ridiculous. It's only 70. I told Claudia I have no idea what my legs look like because they have not been graced with shorts yet. I'm still wearing clothes that I wore in the wintertime and the fall. It's ridiculous. I'm so cold all the time. My nose, my fingers, my toes. I should have a blanket on in the middle of the summertime. And I'm sitting in the warmest room in the house. And look, I just pulled up my sleeves. Share summer, people.
It's nice and toasty here. I am pretty warm. Not overly warm, but I should have turned the ceiling fan on.
I want to go to the pool. We have a lovely pool here in the neighborhood. I want to go sit by the pool and read a book and feel like I'm on vacation with a big old sun hat and my big, huge grandma glasses. And nope.
You know, I got here at my daughter's yesterday morning, and I decided I'm not doing anything. The drive here was pretty easy once I got out of the fog. There was like bad fog. got out of the fog, got on the highway, and the drive was easy because it was Sunday morning, so not very busy. And I'm like, I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to do anything at all. Completely finished the first book that I brought. I brought only 3. Completely finished that. Started watching a new TV series. I just did nothing. I just relaxed.
Isn't it nice?
It was
It's nice. I did that on Friday. I had the house all to myself. Austin was out working. John was out working. Nix and I had the whole house to ourselves. And I just sat down and watched TV all day long. Yep, watched my crime dramas. You don't wish you had my weather. Goodness gracious. I keep telling Claudia I'm waiting for hot flashes because then maybe I'll be warm for a change.
Hi, Roxana.
Oh, good gracious. I know I saw all you people in Texas bragging about your 100-degree weather. Claudia bragging about her 80-degree weather. My eye is twitching so bad. I'm sorry. You can see that. My allergies bugging me. And because of that, I have twitchy eye syndrome. Oh.
So today's question and answer. Becky did send us some stuff and ask us some questions. So we're going to talk about her specific piece of glass, although I can't show them to you because I don't have a second device.
I missed one with Becky. Sorry, I missed one. So Claudia will talk more about that one because I missed that one.
Yeah, she didn't see the Rose Bowl at all.
No, I didn't.
So she sent a picture of a Rose Bowl, had a pontil on the bottom, so we know it was hand blown. It looks to me like it's case glass, but it's got these silvery scratches that didn't come off when she cleaned it. And I'm thinking that maybe because it's satin, that those scratches are where it's been polished back to its original glass. Maybe. I don't know. It's really hard to tell from pictures, but to me it looked like cased glass, or even like it wasn't Burmese, but treated like Burmese glass, chemically treated so the color in there's permanent. It did not look to me like it's stained glass. So hope that helps. Oh, that Roxana, that is too hot. And then she had some other pieces that I'll let Nikki talk about, but just wanted to review again some of the ways to identify glass. Really old glass is going to feel very dry and kind of sharp. And that really, if you get the opportunity, go to an antique store and just feel glass and then read the labels of what people in their booths have marked them. Now, don't go one of those booths where they're like clear glass vase. That's not helpful. But you will find those booths where they're going to be higher priced, but everything is going to be clearly marked. And feel the glass, because that's going to be your start right there, is just feeling the glass. I remember when I started massage school and the teacher asked us, how many of you have ever given someone a massage before? Just a little shoulder massage to your friends, your family. And half the class had never given anybody a massage before, ever. Here they were for massage school. Oh, me too, John Robert. Me too. Hi, Geneva. So the teacher talked about how as you massage more and more people, you'll start to feel their knots. We're not supposed to call it knots, but that's what it's colloquially called, knots. You'll feel their knots. You'll feel the areas of tension. You'll feel the different things in the muscle. Glass is the same way. Yeah. If you feel glass once, you're not going to know much. You feel the glass 100 times and you read the labels of really good booths, you're going to know a lot. So feeling the glass is always my first thing. The other thing is carry a small flashlight and a small black light with you, because you cannot see repairs under like flea market light, antique store light, even Goodwills that aren't well lit. And I am that person, hey Bree, who is totally up there to the fluorescent light in the Goodwill looking through the glass. You can see repairs, you can see scratches, you can see a lot that way. I have literally like pulled my coat hood up over a piece of glass that I thought was old and used the black light to see if it had a magnesium glow. So you want to really look at it too, not just go, oh, this looks pretty and take it home with you. If you're trying to identify it, you really want to look for it. Always look for a mark. Crystal, since John Robert just brought up crystal, good crystal is going to have an engraving or a signature if it was handmade by an artist at the bottom, but sometimes you aren't going to be able to see it. So you're going to want to flip it while looking at it through the light to see if it's engraved anywhere in it. Art glass, you want to look for engravings too. I watched Crazy Lamp Lady hold pieces up and try and find where it's signed. Sometimes she sees no sign, but she knows it's something good. She takes it home. She doesn't see that it's signed until she puts it in the light box.
Yeah.
So you want to look for signatures. You want to look for marks. You want to look for, the Boyd is going to be the B on there. Mosser's going to have, and then you want to look for marks, although a lot of glass was not marked. A lot of glass had the sticker on it. Look for wear marks, because older glass is going to have sat somewhere, and as the house shifts, it's going to slightly move, and older glass is going to have some wear on it. So that is always a good thing to look for too. If it does have chips, it doesn't mean it's not a good piece of glass, but feel the chips. Did that chip happen in the back room of Goodwill, or did that chip happen 30 years ago and has been worn smooth by constant washing and wear? And then, of course, do your Google image search, but then do deeper research, because you don't want to take the first thing that comes up on Google and say, oh, this is what it is. It might not be, because as we talked about, eBay will misidentify something, and then every person selling one after is going to continue to misidentify it. So those are some of the ways that you can figure it out. Also, you can send us a picture and ask a question, because we love to do the deep dives.
Oh, yeah. Yes, because we get stuck in things. We totally get stuck in things. I'll have to look at it. I missed the Rose Bowl. I'm sorry, Becky. I missed the Rose Bowl. I don't know how I missed it other than.
Was it sold as an antique, Becky? I don't remember.
It doesn't.
I reviewed pictures this morning, but I didn't reread the email. So that's just some ways to identify glass. And to identify crystal versus regular glass, tap it with your pen. And if it's a dull thud, it's glass. If it sings, if you get that nice crystal, boing, then it's likely crystal. That's a super easy way to tell. Not all crystal. A lot of the crystal that was mass produced in the 80s does not sing very well.
No, it doesn't.
It's marked crystal. So not all crystal sings. And some glass, especially some of the older glass, does have a nice tone when you tap it. So it's not 100%, but none of the ways are 100%. This piece of glass right here is most likely produced by Kemple. Kemple bought up a ton of molds of antique glass and reproduced them in colors. So this is probably a Kemple from the 1940s to 1970s that was reproduced from an antique early American pattern glass that they bought that was only producing clear originally.
And that happens a lot. That happens a lot. You'll find pieces like my little pen thing, right? It looks like it's antique or cut glass. It's not. I mean, it might be. I doubt it. But I mean, they redid these like in the 80s, and even today they're still redoing these old-fashioned patterns.
Yeah, if you go to Dollar Tree, they're remaking some of those old patterns into current glass or plastic.
Yeah, plastic.
You see a piece that looks really cool at Goodwill, and you pick it up, and you're like, that's
you tap
it.
Yep. Yep. I had that happen at my last 2 estate sales that I went to. I was like, ooh, and then it's plastic.
Yep.
Throw that away. Although you don't want to do that either, but I mean, I totally get that. On your other pieces, Becky, those other ones, the bud vase, we're both in agreement. That's probably an antique. I don't think it was flashed ever before. It might have had gold. Claudia Barb might have had gold right around the top or the base.
Yeah. Well, and even some of those did have some gold down the sides of them. So probably wasn't flashed with a color, but probably most likely had gold if you're seeing some little bit of something still on it.
Yeah, it would have been gilded. Yeah. Oh, that's really good. And there were, you know what? Just because it's a reproduction doesn't mean that it's
A lot of reproductions are now vintage and people collect them.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, jeez. Yeah. Yeah. So you can get like Rossi, I think it's Rossi, I think I'm saying that right. His stuff is reproductions of older stuff, but it's vintage in and of itself. And even there are people out there now that are doing taking old glass and melting it down, uranium glass, and using it, making it into something else. So just because it's a reproduction doesn't mean that it's, and I'll show you a piece that I'm selling today that was actually made by 3 different companies. So to be able to pinpoint which company made it is like almost impossible. Yeah. But it's antique glass, so because they all do that.
Yes, Kathy, we should be using the black light to find the glue, but we are human and sometimes walk out the door without our black light, or don't have it with us and make a stop we didn't plan on, and then we just take a chance and find the repair when we get home.
I had that happen with a really pretty old piece of ceramic, and it wasn't until much later on that I got home that I saw that she had actually been chopped in half and glued back together.
Yeah. And yes, Becky, I do believe that Bud vase is an antique.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think so too. It might even sing. It could even be flint glass, and it might even sing. So try tapping it, like Claudia said, with the pen. You might, because flint glass is a form of lead glass, so you might actually hear it ring. But if it's flint glass, holy crap, that's awesome and really, really old. But I love those little clear Bud vases like that I've picked up too, and sold them to you guys here because people poo-poo them off because there were so many reproductions that were done in like the 80s of that stuff that people are like, oh, it's just that chintzy 80s stuff my grandmother had or my mother had in her place. Who's the other piece? The imperial glass piece, I had talked to Claudia, I saw the exact same piece, just twice the size and in cobalt. It was the same thing. It is really gorgeous, and that was in cobalt blue, but your piece looks iridized like carnival glass, like what Indiana glass did. It's kind of what it looks like. So, but flash glass or stained glass, as it's really called, was started in 1890 to 1920. So all that like Tiffin, King's Crown, ruby stuff, that's all stained glass. It was super, super popular. It kind of fell out of favor after the 1920s. But that's antique glass. So antique glass can be flash, that time period there. And then, you've got like Target that still does that, the Dollar Tree that still kind of, but theirs is so, so cheap that if you just like brush something against it, you're going to lose that. It's going to flake off like instantly. It's like very poorly done. So you can kind of tell the difference.
And the other way to tell, again, with the light, you're going to want to hold it up to the light, because just glass sitting is going to shift as the house shifts. And it's going to have, if it is that stained glass, it's going to start to wear the color off in spots like that. And this piece that I'm going to have up for sale today, it is carnival glass, but when I held it up to the light, I could see spots. There were chips that I couldn't even see, but the chips broke off and you could see light through. So just holding it up to the light is going to tell you stuff a lot of the times. But with the stained pieces, you definitely want to hold it up to the light. And if you suspect it is stained, do not submerge it in water. It will take off so much of the color. And you don't want to take, unless you're completely removing the color and you're committed to it, which I did do with that one, because it was amber glass underneath. I thought it was red when I bought it. It was advertised as red when I bought it, but it obviously was stained. And I was committed to it because I have an amber collection. I would have sold it if it was red. But don't submerge it in water or you'll lose all the staining. Yeah.
Yeah. And you can see the little pin pricks because it happens with the Indiana glass too, that's been re-carnival, and with the original carnival glass. It'll happen with that too, especially some of the colors like marigolds, you'll see it happen with that. You'll get these little pin pricks. It'll show the color of the glass underneath. And if it's stained glass, it will be like, if it's real red, usually it's red. Usually it's the color red, right? That they're slapping on something that it's stained. It will be almost like more see-through than real red glass. And that's another thing of, if you hold up like a piece of like King's Crown and you hold that up and then you hold up a real piece of red glass, you'll see the difference in the color because one is painted and one is actually red glass or marina colored glass.
Oh, John Robert, that's amazing. I love the Fenton blue, that satin blue.
Yes. I have a thing for that. All right, so I hope we answered the questions, Becky. I hope we did. So I decided that what we were going to do, and what I was going to do today was I was going to give you guys some fun facts about glass. Maybe stuff you knew, maybe stuff you didn't know. We'll see. So 15 fun facts about glass. All right. So in King Tut's tomb, number 1, in King Tut's tomb, they found a decorative writing tablet, 2 blue headrests, all made of glass. And then his funerary mask, that blue bit that is in between the gold, those are bits of blue glass that are in between.
Really?
Yeah, some people didn't know that.
Love that.
So glass is very old. And it was produced around the late Bronze Age, and glass was saturated in the late Bronze Age. This is awesome. With blue, purple, turquoise, yellow, red, and white. So they actually had colored glass back in the late Bronze Age. Well, I mean, look at the Egyptians. They had blue glass. They had cobalt glass. They had all sorts of fun glass. And glass back then was valued just below gold and silver. So it was a high trade thing. So it was worth big because it was difficult to make, right? Mm-hmm. Archaeologists have found glass beads dating to as early as the 3rd millennial BC. That's ridiculous. Little tiny glass beads in like funerary, usually they were offerings. Ancient Romans used the first blowpipe in the 1st century. Ooh. Oh, yeah, you can look that up, John Robert. They have a Fenton label that'll let you know the color. It lets you know the year. I just don't know that one off the top of my head. So the ancient Romans were the first ones to use a blowpipe in the 1st century, and they used them to make glass beads, for trade, jewelry, and even made elaborate mosaics and introduced glass tableware. So the Romans were eating off of glass tableware just like we kind of do today. They had containers and mirrors and even used clear glass window panes. Then, of course, all of that was forgotten about because the Romans fell away and we had the Dark Ages, and glass window panes weren't used again until the 1700s. That's when they became more commonly used in the 1700s, when they started slapping window taxes on things. So the more windows you had, the more taxes you had. People would start boarding up their windows. Venice became the center of the glassmaking world in the 8th century. We know this, right? In 1291, they moved their glass production to Murano Island. We know that. In the 15th century, the old Roman glassmaking ways were reinvented by Murano glassmakers. So the Romans had done it first. Everybody forgot about it. And in the same region, we have Murano reinventing stuff. The first glass factory in the U.S. was established in 1608. Didn't know that. That was fabulous. It was located near Jamestown, Virginia. I know, right? Really old. Super old. This is my favorite fact, guys. You're going to love this one. King Charles VI of France, he ruled from 1380 to 1422, suffered from a strange glass delusion. He was convinced he was made of glass, convinced he would break, wouldn't let people touch him, and dressed up with extra padding to prevent accidental shattering. Now, you would think that this was a rare thing, but apparently it ended up by being quite common between the 1500s and the 1700s, where people thought they were made of glass.
Interesting.
I mean, like, geez, John brought up the point. Well, how did he get it on and make an air? I'm like, I don't know if he had an air. No, my pieces, they thick. Inbreeding, yeah, I know, right? Inbreeding, exactly. All right, the top 3 producing glass countries in the world are China. China's number 1. China produces $16.9 billion worth of glass every year. Germany is number 2. They produce 7.7 billion of glass every year. And the U.S. is number 3 with 5.8 billion. So China makes some more glass than anybody else. And 20 years from now, we'll be selling glass that's made in China instead of made in Japan.
Oh,
I know. We can all cringe now, which we all did cringe back, in the day when everything was made in Japan or Hong Kong. Oh, made in Japan or Hong Kong. And then we do that about China. So glass can form naturally. There are natural forms of glass. There's obsidian, which is formed by volcanoes. I was looking for I have an obsidian arrowhead. I don't know where it went, so I could show you guys, but that is black. That is true black glass, is obsidian glass. There's impactite glass, which is formed by meteorites, and forms of that are meadowite and Libyan desert glass. If you've never heard of Libyan desert glass, it is this yellow glass that is found out in the Libyan desert and is probably the rarest glass there is. It's really kind of awesome to see it. Although glass is one of the most sustainable things or materials, I should say, on Earth, and has been around for about 6,000 years, that's a long time, it takes 1 million years to decompose naturally. 1 million years for a piece of glass. So that glass bottle you just drank out of, you think you're saving the planet, make sure you recycle it. Because otherwise it takes 1 million years to go bye-bye. Okay, so in 1979, what was the most expensive piece of glass sold? I'll tell you. It was a Roman, I'm going to make sure I say this right. It was called the Constable Maxwell Cage Cup. It is a Roman glass cage cup. So there was a cage of glass around this cup and was sold by Sotheby's of London for $1,078,480. One, which was probably like, just like, that big, very little piece of glass. And it is the Guinness Book of World Records. The most expensive paperweight is a Clichy Millefiore basket, circa 1840. Remember I told you last week that the Victorians were all the rage with all these paperweights. And that sold for $258,500 in 1990 in Sotheby's of New York. So keep an eye out for those paperweights, people. Don't poo-poo paperweights. Here's another one. Here's a big bolo, because I thought this was kind of fun. Bell mason jars between 1900 and 1910. How many of them do we walk by all the time, right? I've told people before, they have sometimes milk glass in the top. Those are worth a little bit more. If they're a little bit more on the blue side, those are worth a little bit more. These are worth the most, all right? The company created some with the logo upside down. So instead of it looking like this way, they were upside down. And they did it on purpose because they were supposed to be used as dispensers. Now, it's estimated that there's only about a dozen or so left. Could be more, we don't know. And they are worth up to $1,000 each. So bolo, everybody, don't be walking by those mason jars.
I'm going to be on the lookout for that.
Because all I could think of was I'm turning every frame over to see if I find the Declaration of Independence hiding out behind it. This is kind of like that moment where you actually might find this, you might actually find out in the wild. So keep an eye out. Something else that fetches very high prices, perfume bottles sold by the New England Glass Company, who we learned about last week, and the Boston Sandwich Company, which we kind of learned about last week, can fetch up to $1,000 a piece. Those are always, they're antique. So if you see them, pick them up. Don't poo-poo little, perfume bottles. All right, coming to the end here. Glass blowers only need enough air to, hey, Bridget, to blow out a candle to blow glass. So you don't need, I always thought they needed like this, like huge lung capacity. Apparently, no.
Huh.
Who knew? And you cannot die by inhaling through a blowpipe. Apparently, that's a myth out there that if you inhale, you're going to die. You're not going to die. According to glass blowers, you're not going to die. You're going to be okay. And many universities keep glass blowers on salary to make their chemical equipment, their equipment for chemistry or to fix and repair and make test tubes and beakers. Didn't know that. I thought that was kind of cool. And the last one is lamp working was kept secret by Murano Glass for over 400 years. They kept that stuff in their back pocket to avoid competition. Because we've talked, competition in the glass world is like the mafia. I mean, it is ridiculously cutthroat what these people do to get these things. So there you go. There's some interesting glass facts. Hope you found them a little bit entertaining. I had fun looking them up. So that's my spiel. Oh, good. And I'm glad we figured out what the black was, because I know each colored label is a different time period. So you can date your glass by that. But there should be the little Benton circle on the bottom, too, with a 8 or 9. Sometimes that's hard to read. The 9's hard to read, I think. Okay. So who goes first?
So I just got smalls today because I am here at my daughter's, if you missed that. So everything I'm bringing today is going to be a small because I needed to be able to transport it safely and transport it back. I will not be invoicing until Saturday or Sunday because I'm going to be here through Friday night. They'll be back Thursday, but Friday's her actual birthday, so I'm going to spend it with her. I will go live on Wednesday, but I'm not doing a sale. I'm just going to go live, do the prompt for the altered book, hang out with you guys for a little bit, and that's all I'm going to be doing on Wednesday. Okay, so my first item is this Amberina toothpick, and I hope that you can see this gorgeous yellow around the top, and then it's around here too. And it did come up as Kemple, you know, I can't be 100% sure that it is, but Kemple did buy up a lot of these molds and remake them 1940s through 1970s. No chips, no cracks. And I don't even have, it's this tall because I don't even have a ruler today.
It's that big, everyone.
$10, number 6 for the Amberina toothpick. And it does glow under the black light. It glows bright orange on these bits. $10, number 6. My second item, this one's probably Bryce Brothers. If you remember, I did show this during then. It's in my personal collection. I decided I'd bring it because we're still trying to do the rainbow. So this counts as my yellow and orange combined. And it's the child size. It's got the butterfly on it. So this one is an antique if it is in fact Bryce Brothers. And it is going to be $12, number 2. $12, number 2. And those are my first 2.
I love that little butterfly cup. I kind of dig. Nowadays, we're horrified giving a small child a glass to drink out of. Like, they're going to drop it, they're going to break it, but I think they're really cool, the glass ones. Okay, my first item. This is the piece I was talking about. This is made by 3 different companies. So it was made by Jefferson, it was made by Northwood, and holy moly guacamole, I can't remember the third one, but Jefferson and Northwood. I had an allergy headache, so forgive me, everybody. It has the opalescence up along the edges that are crimped, and the pattern is actually called vintage.
Oh, I love that.
I love that too. And I get it because, it's got the grapes. So it's like a vintage of wine. So
do you know what the very center looks like? The center pattern looks like those crystal crowns that everybody's been wearing.
Yes. Oh, I didn't even think of that.
That's what it looks
so cool. I love that. That is neat. Then it's smooth on the inside. The pattern is all pressed on the outside. And I am actually there. There's one seam. There are 2 seams. Sometimes the seams are super hard to see. So this is a piece of antique glass made by either Jefferson or Northwood. I'm actually leaning Jefferson because I've had Jefferson pieces before. Not that I haven't had Northwood. I've had Northwood too. But it just, I don't know, feels a little bit more like that. I don't know. I don't have my thing either. It's as big as my face. There. It's as big as behind me. I don't feel like getting it. It's as big as my face. So if you're interested, this is the first stop on the rainbow for me, the clear to white. It's going to be $25, number 93. $25, number 93. And I love these because it reminds me of like snow. Really good condition too on that piece.
It's stunning. And everybody should own at least one piece of antique glass. Are you back? You blipped out for a second.
I don't know what happened. And then we switched sides.
I know.
What were you saying about the antique glass?
Everybody should own at least one piece.
Oh, yes. Yes. Everybody should own at least one piece of antique glass. I have many pieces of antique glass because it's my favorite. So we were all talking about Fenton earlier. Here's my little Fenton contribution. This is Milk Glass Aqua Crest. But this color Aqua Crest, my God, it just turned into Elmer Fudd. Aqua Crest, this version of Aqua Crest is the super duper pale light blue. This was only made for a short run in the early to mid 40s. So they ended up by darkening up the Aqua Crest later on. So this is a 4-inch crimped triangle base. They call it a triangle base. I don't know. It's a little bit more cone-like, right? It looks like a fancy bottom of an ice cream cone sundae. Mm-hmm. But it is Fenton. It is a super old piece of Fenton. The does have a little bit of a ring of fire, which is kind of awesome. So if you're interested in the 1940s Aqua Crest by Fenton, it's going to be a $12 and number 74. $12, number 74. Kathy, I hate you because now that is going to happen. It is going to snow. Okay, that was my 2.
See, Kaz is right. Everybody should have a piece of antique glass.
Yes.
Okay, this is not antique glass. This is tiara glass. Oh, good. You can see the pale green. It doesn't glow but it is so pretty. It's just this very pale green color. It's this big. And it is The Last Supper. This was made by Tiara, by the Indiana Glass Company, because we've learned that Tiara Glass was made by 3 different companies. This one, I found it in a box listed on eBay, and it did have Indiana right on it. So just a little pretty butter plate, bread plate, just sweet. And I love this pale green color. $8, number 4. No chips, no cracks. $8, number 4. And then if you saw my haul, you saw this spoon. This little condiment spoon is depression glass. It's Hazel Atlas. And these are pretty rare to find, unbroken.
You got Bria for number 4.
Awesome, Bree.
Yeah, I like those little tiny plates. I think they're cute. This is amazing though. Oh.
So it is not very long. Like, here's my pen. Here's the spoon. So it's not very long. And it is the cobalt blue from the Depression era. $10, number 10. $10, number 10. I had to super wrap that to make sure it didn't break between here and there. And those are my 2. Hi, Karen.
I saw your little spoon and my mind went instantly to the movie The Birdcage, where he's dabbing little dollops of mustard on his toast with his pinky up in the air. And that's what I want to do with that. I want to get some Dijon mustard and just dab it on my bread now. Okay, up next, continuing on the rainbow trade, I'm moving into pink. This is pink depression glass. I know it doesn't really look it. I'm really far away and my background walls are orange. So this is the not Miss America. I'll get there. American Sweetheart. There we go. By Macbeth Evans. This is the really big one. This is the 12-inch plate. It is a serving plate. You can use it as a charger. I love the medallion in the center, though. Love that. This is in fantastic condition. Like I said, I just, you put out your little snacks. I think it was the butterfly thrifting nurse. She had done a Outlanders party, and she put out all these snacks for her Outlanders party, and I was like, but you're missing a piece of like Macbeth Evans, because it sounds Scottish, for your base. So really good condition. There aren't even any silverware marks on this. This sat in Grandma's cupboard forever. Hey, Rebecca. So if you're interested in the big pink depression Macbeth Evans American Sweetheart plate, it's going to be $15, number 85. $15, number 85. It has to have its own little space because it takes up too much space. Okay. And next, we're going to red. We did Libby last week, and I didn't want to drown you all in Libby, so I brought more Libby this week because for some reason I'm finding lots of Libby. This is, I'm going to see if I can get it to show up, a cocktail shaker. There we go. So we've got the Alexander, the Margarita, it's a 12-ouncer, the Whiskey Sour, Manhattan, the Daiquiri, the Tom Collins, and back to the beginning. So these are, that's right, use your vintage. I just thought this would be fun sitting on a bar. It's a nice heavy one. It does have the Libby L on the bottom. I don't know if that's going to show up. Oh, kind of shows up. To have a little bit of fun, maybe you're doing like a Mad Men style cocktail party, or maybe that's what you do Friday nights. You try one of these drinks every week to see which one you like the best. Most of them are probably kind of gross. I don't know if I could drink a Tom Collins. Let's see what's in that. I don't know. Maybe I could drink a Tom Collins. I don't know.
I've never had one.
But it gives you the recipes on there, which I think is cool. It tells you how much to do, and just a fun little glass. And if you're interested in the Libby cocktail shaker with all the little recipes on it, it's going to be $8 and number 78. $8 and number 78. And those are my 2.
All right. So we've talked about glass that was sun ruined and turned to lavender. But for purple, hi, Bonnie.
I love those. I love those.
Purple, I did bring my one piece that I have found, and it is just, oh, good, you can see it. It's just the palest lavender.
What?
And I have no idea what this even would originally have been used for. And it does have a really nice magnesium glow of green to it. But it's sun damaged. And some people think that's ruined glass. And some people think it's kind of cool. I think it's kind of cool, especially since it's the only piece I've ever found. But I'm offering it to you today. $10, number 8. And it's just this big. $10, number 8. It is so weird to have dark behind me when I'm used to having all of my white shelves behind me. Oh, thank you, Bonnie. A salt cellar. It would be a master salt cellar then, because it's much bigger than like individual salt cellars. But yeah, you're probably right.
Like maybe next to the stove or for cooking or to make pretzels. No, it's pretzel salt.
I have the little milk glass hen on nest. Now this is bigger than the salt cellar ones that I have.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it still could be one of the master salt cellars, but it's bigger than the individual ones. So I wouldn't want you to think it was one of the tiny ones. But it's also, you know, not one of the regular size ones either. So it's a smaller one, just not the smallest ones. No chips, no cracks. This is listed as Westmoreland, but I've never found a piece of Westmoreland that didn't have the Westmoreland mark on it. So I don't think it's Westmoreland because it does not have the Westmoreland mark.
Yeah, I feel like those, I have had pieces that don't have the Westmoreland mark, but those should. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's red coal paint is in still really good condition. And I did not submerge this piece because I didn't want him to lose any more of his cold paint or lose any of his cold paint since he was in such good condition. So little milk glass hen on nest, $12, number 5. $12, number 5. And those are mine too. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Don't forget to give us thumbs up.
Okay, I'm moving on to I don't have orange this week, so I have yellow that is amber. So we're doing amber for my yellow section. So this is the Viking compote. We know them. We love them. It's got the little, and Viking is so easy, especially the stuff from their Epic collection to see from a distance because it looks like it has a flower child flower on the bottom. So we were talking about identification. Viking is one of the easiest glasses to identify unless you get a weird piece, which can happen. So I love this piece. It is in really perfect condition. Very, very nice condition. And Claudia and I both love clear glass and amber glass. So you know what? I don't shy away from picking up these pieces. I'm going to show you this, and I forgot. I have to tell you all a very, very funny story about recognizing glass and trusting your gut. All right. So if you're interested in the Viking glass, it's going to be $18, number 90. $18, number 90 on this one. So I had a piece of yellow glass in my hand this weekend, and I was hemming and hawing over it forever because I'm like, oh, it looks like something is really cool. It's yellow, for crying out loud. Yellow is not an easy color in glass to find. It had a pontil mark. It had the crimping on the top, but in a fan, not like a Fenton, like flared out, but in a fan shape. And I had no internet. So I couldn't give it a quick search online to see if I really should have picked it up. So here is the moral of the story. I got home and looked it up. Probably shouldn't have. It was Blanco. And I'm kicking myself for not picking it up. So if you're out and you don't have access to the internet to give something a really quick Google lens, and it's not that expensive a piece, you know, under $5 or so, pick it up. Especially if you like it, just pick it up. And if it turns out not to be anything, you'll use it for something else, right? You'll find something to use it for, or you sell it on or whatever. But you never know. You could have just walked by something that was awesome, and I walked by something that was kind of awesome. So a lesson of the day, everyone. Moving on. Green. I have a little mini bud vase. Now this one has the really neat little thumbprint, like tiny, like fairy thumbprints. That's what I'm calling it on the bottom, because it's a tiny one. Look how little it is. Super little. Now, Claudia was talking about chips. This does have a chip. It does have a pretty good sized chip, but it is a soft chip, so it is an old chip. It is a very old chip, actually. It is right here, and it was very hard. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get it to kind of show up because my thumb's there. You can see. Oh, there we go. You can kind of see it. You can see it. It's a good sized chip, but it is a soft chip. It is an old chip. It's been there a while. This does glow. We do have a glowy piece here, a really lovely glowy piece. This is the bit that stumped me, and I'm not going to be able to get it to show up on camera. There is a little itty bitty bee in there. Boyd usually has their bee in a diamond. This is just a bee. This is just a plain old bee in there. So I'm a little flummoxed. It's not in my handy dandy mark book that I always keep with me. But hold on. Oh, I found it. I found it. So this guy here is just about 8 inches. So he's really, really tiny, tiny, tiny. I've never seen one this tiny, but I love the little tiny little thumbprints. So if you're interested in the little tiny uranium guy, he's going to be just $8, number 75. $8, number 75. And I love the little opening too. And those are my two. Put you down carefully.
I love that.
It's so cute.
Okay, my next item is the Imperial Glass Carnival Glass toothpick. Now, it came with this candle in it. So I'm going to include the candle if you want the candle. Although it's the wrong time of year to be shipping candles. But look how cool it is.
Oh, that's a cool candle.
Yeah. So I left it in there. But when I held it up to the light, because this was in a church basement, when I held it up to the light, I could see spots through it. So it has quite a bit of chipping where bits have, there's just no way to show you. Well, maybe right there.
It's hard to say, yeah.
But there's chipping on it. So when you hold it up to the light, you can see through the carnival glass. It's just been chipped. But sitting like this, you would never know that. This base color is blue. And it does have the IG there in the bottom that tells us it's Imperial Glass. It's this side. And it's a bit bigger than the Kemple. And we've talked about the size differences before. That's how we know that Kemple was using the molds from the antique, because they were smaller than ones that were made later. Because of the dinging that you can't see unless you hold up the light, it's only going to be $6. $6, number 1, on the Carnival Glass toothpick holder. And then I love this, even without the top. This is an Ellie Smith bottom to a perfume bottle. The top would have been just as big, if not bigger than the bottle, and it would have had this eye in the very center of the glass stopper. But it is an amazingly beautiful perfume bottle, even without the stopper. It does have, I don't know if it's a chip, because it's where the seam comes up right here, the tiniest spot. But it's so stinking pretty. And the listing that I saw for it said this was beaded medallion. Look how stinking pretty it is.
And you know what? I would have actually looked at that and went, I wonder if that's a really old piece of glass. It's from like the bubbling and the size of it. It's gorgeous.
And I thought, wouldn't that be good to put the oil with the reeds?
Yeah.
I thought it would be good for that. So it would have been stunningly amazing and super expensive if it still had its beautiful top. But I don't know how to tell since I don't have my measure, since I'm at my daughter's.
How big is the opening, Breachy? Is ask. Oh, you can't tell. Yeah.
I don't know, half an inch maybe, because it's this size.
Because then you're wondering if you have a stopper at home that you can use that you could put inside of it. I know.
Yeah.
Oh, that helps. That helps.
Okay. So it's gorgeous.
It is
gorgeous. And I really wanted to keep it, but you know, I was specifically buying smalls for this sale, so I couldn't keep it. But it's only $8.
Oh, wow.
Only $8 since there's no stopper. Hi, Marianne.
That's a hell of a price.
And it's gorgeous. All right, those are my two.
I didn't even realize that they made them. I think that's amazing. Okay. So this one is another Libby piece, but I'm pulling this because it's kind of a mix of a bunch of different colors. I got little tiny cordial glasses. But the best part of these is this is their Treasure Island. It's from the 50s, so it has a compass. And then when we turn it here just a little bit more, we see the pirates are loading up their booty and throwing it. Hold on, I'm getting there. Into the ship. I just thought it was really cool. I just thought these were fun. The gold trim around the top is in excellent, excellent shape. I love the little stem, the little bulbous stem. They are a lovely little pair. They are fun. They are funky. I really loved them. These do not have the little Libby mark on the bottom. It's not printed there on the bottom, but they are Libby. They are from the 1950s. Treasure Island was kind of all the rage back then. And all the little figures are in really good shape. I'm going to assume these hold about 4 ounces because it is a cordial. So I'm assuming they hold about that. So if you're interested in the pair of them, they're going to be $10, number 87. $10, number 87 for the Treasure Island babies. And then Claudia had a perfume bottle. I found a perfume bottle. Isn't that fun? And they're both gorgeous. So this is a gorgeous. Oh, I love this so much. Look at the paint. It's in perfect condition. All of this. So this is a corseted perfume bottle. It still has its little stopper. It's a little gold paint on the top. Now the inside, as they usually are, is a little bit chewed up here. It is a little bit dinged there on the inside. And this was a hand-blown piece. There is a nice chunky pontil on the bottom of that. Now, from all of the research I did on this, and believe me, it was interesting, there are 4 of these floating around out there. 4. 3 of them, and they're all on eBay, are all listed as 1850s French cobalt blue perfume bottles. The one that is over on, or was over on Etsy, I think it is since sold, was listed as 1910s. So we're going to put that in that time period. They had it listed as French. I don't think it's Bohemian, although at first I did. There's just not enough fancy like golds on it, I think. If it was more Bohemian, it would be much, much, much fancier. But they are listed as perfume bottles. All of the paint is still, I'm going to take the top off so it doesn't fall off. You can see it's got a little bit of gold up here, a little bit of gold here that goes around that bit, and then the little on the stopper. It is just absolutely gorgeous, and it has that 3D feel to it. So antique perfume bottle for sure. These are going for a lot of money out there, so I kind of giving you guys a break here. I'm going to do $45, number 91. $45, number 91 on this absolute beauty. And that's my blue round, my green and blue round.
Thank you very much. Amazing.
Oh, thank you so much.
What did I miss? What was Kathy saying daisies about?
I don't know. Were we holding up something that looked like a daisy?
Okay, my next item. Oop, just dropped it. Good thing that it was a brooch. Now, glass and metal, and I'll tell you how I know it's metal in a second, but it's Sarah Coventry, and I swear, you put a table in front of me with 100 brooches, and my eye will immediately go to the one Sarah Coventry in the whole thing. I don't know why. It is just, I love Sarah Coventry. It's my eye always goes to it. So when I picked this up at the yard sale I was at, and it turned it over and it was Sarah Coventry, it did not surprise me at all. And it has, you can put it on a necklace, and it is it's a little brooch, but
I get you, Kathy. She said put daisies in the perfume bottle.
Oh yeah. I get home and is it gonna show? No.
I see it a little bit. Is it over there? Yeah.
Yeah.
Tiny bit.
The green stone right here. That lighting's too bad in here. But it's uranium. That's how I know that these are glass stones. So the one green stone in there is uranium. But it's just a little itty bitty. $10. $10, number 3 for the little Sarah Coventry brooch that has 1 uranium stone in it. Just 1. All the other stones are other colors, not uranium glass. But that was a cool, nice surprise because I picked it up because it was Sarah Coventry, and then get home and I'm like, you know what? I did not check that. And I was like, oh, right there. There it is. And my last piece, because I was specifically picking up smalls, we decided that it probably had a salt and pepper shaker in it, and maybe they were sterling silver.
Okay.
It no longer does, but it could hold marbles. It's this big. It could hold crystals if you wanted to display some crystals in there. So any of your little things that you need to get a little fancy elevated bit to, it's got this nice ribbing down here. I thought it would be cute for that. And it's a small. $6, number 7. $6, number 7. Those are my 2.
All right, so Claudia brought all her smalls. I was tempted to bring all of my super larges, but I whittled it down to one really large piece. I went to an estate sale this weekend. You know, it's the only time I've ever been to an estate sale where I actually almost started crying. And it was very unusual because they had all this paper stuff, and I have it. It's going to be for sale on one of my Whatnot shows in the not too distant future. I was picking up birth certificates, marriage certificates, dog cremation certificates, funerary costs, photos, and there were photo albums. It made me very sad because I was like, is there nobody in the family that wants this? Like, I don't know, it just made me really sad, and I got really teary-eyed about the whole thing. So we told our kids, when we go, just burn everything and don't have an estate sale, because, you know, we don't want other people to feel sad. So I'm bringing my giant. Look at the size of this thing. I'm not gonna lie, this thing is enormous. This is Indiana glass. It is the teardrop of garland along the top. It is the iridized carnival glass in shades of blue and purple. So this is kind of the indigo round. I love this little beaded ring here, kind of in the center right here. And on a big pedal. This is a huge piece. I think these were used as fruit bowls. That would be what you'd use this for. Put this on the table and use it as a big old fruit bowl. It is in really good shape.
Would love that. She loves Indiana glass, carnival glass.
And I'm not gonna lie, this thing weighs 3 pounds. So heads up, everybody, this thing weighs 3 pounds all on its own. So it's a big mamma jamma. So if you're interested in the carnival glass, Indiana teardrop, it is $18, number 73. $18, number 73. It is really gorgeous. Okay, so from the 70s, I'm gonna go to the 80s. I have nothing gets more 80s than this. It's the skinny shape, it's the color, it is glass. This is just a very, very simple and probably just held a really pretty flower arrangement at one point in time. Black glass base, circa 1983. That's what I'm going to say. I don't know. It's from the 80s, right? Because I can see like ridiculous lilies and dried flowers, the ones with the little balls in them. And
pussy willows. Yep.
Yeah, that's probably what was in this at one point in time. But I just thought, you know what? It's fun. At Halloween time, you can make it look like an urn, like it was holding some magical ashes or something. But it's just a fun little piece. So if you're interested in the 80s black glass, it's going to be just $8. $8 for the 80s, number 89. And that is my
I love that.
It's just fun. It was just a fun piece. And I had to bring my big boys.
And I'm sad I missed Mark and Michael having marbles. That would have been cool to see.
Oh, yeah.
And Grandma 11 has one of those.
Oh.
They are awesome.
Yes, they are. For reals.
All right, if you guys are watching this on the replay and you want to know if something is still available, email each of us and we will let you know if one is still available, if the item is still available. Also, don't forget, I'm not having my sale Wednesday morning, but I will go live because I'm going to be here at my daughter's all week. So I will not be invoicing until Saturday or Sunday once I'm back home. I'm going to go live Wednesday morning, going to have coffee from here in one of her coffee cups. Most of which I purchased. And what do you have going on this week besides freezing because your weather is cold?
Yeah, I know. Now I'm actually kind of warm, which is a good thing. I'm going to be doing the Whatnot sale this week. I didn't do it last week. I have antique books that are going to be available on Whatnot. Oh, thank you, Marianne. As well as some fun ephemera. If you saw my post last week, I had this fun little organ cut out. I don't know. My son didn't get it. He just shook his head at me. He's 18. He should think it's hysterical. I thought it was freaking hysterical. It was all about blowing your organ. And it was really, really funny. So go see that. But next week, I'm going to actually do some humor. We're going to have lots of humor and some comics over on my Whatnot sale. So that's all I got going on this week. Bye, John Robert. Thanks for stopping by.
And we will see all of you guys next Monday.
Yeah.
See you in the chats first. So have a great day, everybody.
Bye all.
Bye.